Survivor Series is WrestleMania's rubbish younger brother, and we love it for that. The event is home to the traditional elimination tag match, a stipulation which has been through many different phases over the years. It started as a device to put long-term storylines in motion for WrestleMania, and is now a battle over whether red or blue is the better color. But one thing has remained constant throughout: a huge variety of eliminations. And with over 30 years of history to look back on, you'd better believe that some are as surprising, dramatic, and downright weird as it gets. I'm MR.FUJI from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 most shocking Survivor Series eliminations ever. Join us. Number 10, Walter's poor showing. Oh no, we're starting off with a bad type of surprise. I'm still not sure if Vince McMahon was actually awake for Survivor Series 2019, because this was the night NXT dominated the main roster. Names like Rhea Ripley, Roderick Strong, and Shayna Baszler didn't just get a chance to shine on the big stage, they took full advantage, humiliating Raw and SmackDown and beating some of WWE's most established names in the process. If that wasn't enough to get the internet cool kids excited, large Austrian bear man Walter was part of the men's elimination tag match. Unlike his teammates, he was representing the NXT UK brand, which should have maybe been a clue of what was to come. With wrestling hipsters eager to see Walter chop Randy Orton and Seth Rollins into oblivion, he tagged into the match early on. He then had a little scuffle with Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman, ate a Claymore, and was immediately eliminated. Oh. To make matters worse, Walter was in the middle of an 870-day reign as UK champion, proving that if you choose to care about WWE's smaller shows, the company itself will resent and ridicule you for it. Hooray! Number 9, MR.FUJI turns on Demolition. Early Survivor Series events may be slightly cluttered and confusing to watch, but they have a certain substance that modern versions lack. With only a few pay-per-views a year, classic Survivor Series matches were all about the storytelling, a perfect example occurring at the second ever event in 1988. Towards the end of a mammoth 20-man elimination tag, Smash of Demolition hit the ropes, only for his manager, MR.FUJI, to pull them apart and send him tumbling to the outside. Smash was counted out, Demolition were eliminated, and the pair turned face by slamming Fuji to huge cheers. The Powers of Pain completed the double turn by picking up Fuji, dusting him down, and taking him to stand in their corner, which is possibly the most adorable heel turn in wrestling history. I can't believe that Warlord and Barbarian helped that 54-year-old non-wrestler to his feet. They're worse than Satan. Thankfully, Demolition got their revenge at WrestleMania 5, beating the Powers and Fuji in a handicap match to retain their tag team titles. Storylines in the 80s were just lovely, weren't they? Not a casket, kidnapping, or paternity test to be seen. Number 8, Lana wins by doing nothing. These days, there's a growing sense that ever since Becky Lynch went on maternity leave in mid-2020, WWE have regressed to their old ways, i.e. not booking their women's division very seriously at all. There are still occasional moments of significance, the biggest being Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair's WrestleMania main event, but on weekly TV, we're seeing things revert to a depressing status quo. A perfect example of this came at the 2020 Survivor Series, where the women's match devolved into bickering, bitchiness, and bad comedy. The finish was particularly eyebrow-raising. Earlier in the match, Nia Jax told Raw teammate Lana to stand on the ring steps and do nothing because she didn't like her very much. This was around the time she was putting Lana through tables on a weekly basis. Remember that? Yeah. Lana did as she was told, only for Nia and final opponent Bianca Belair to get counted out as they fought on the outside. Yes, in a match which could have been used to elevate several women at once, Lana was booked to win by doing absolutely nothing. Long live the women's revolution! Number 7, Shawn Michaels buries KNOX. Shawn Michaels has had his fair share of controversial Survivor Series moments, arguing with Marty Jannetty in 1991, accidentally superkicking Diesel in 1994, and, I can't think of a third one. But those moments don't fully belong in this video, because rather than being huge definitive moments themselves, they sowed the seeds for bigger plot points down the line. So instead, and this might sound silly, we've chosen HBK's elimination of KNOX in 2006. Okay, so it's no surprise that Shawn Michaels eliminated KNOX in this match. That's hardly an upset for the ages, but this elimination was shocking for a different reason. Seconds into the bout, Michael super kicks KNOX, checks with the referee to make sure he's actually one of his opponents, and covers him for 3. He then goes back to the corner and asks his teammate who on earth that guy even was. Was it hilarious? Yeah, okay, it was. But it didn't exactly help the career of Mike KNOX, who until this point was most known as that guy whose girlfriend wants to leave him for CM Punk. And as relatable a gimmick as that may be, it doesn't exactly spell megastar. Also, Shawn's got some nerve, hasn't he? Mike KNOX could physically eat him if he wanted to. Number 6, Big Show betrays John Cena. I know what you're thinking, Big Show turning heel? That's not a shock. That's a typical Sunday night for the big fella. But context is everything, and the timing of this moment was absolutely perfect. The big elimination match at Survivor Series 2014 was centered around a huge stipulation. If Team Cena won, the Authority would have to disband forever. Forever has a dubious meaning in wrestling, as we all know. But if Team Authority won, John Cena's merry band of happy helpers would all be fired. Heading into this match, it's fair to say that most were predicting a classic big match John performance, overcoming the odds, saving the day once again, and sending the kids home happy. So it was a genuine surprise to see Big Show flatten his team captain with a knockout blow before shaking hands with Triple H and walking out of the match. Cena was pinned and Dolph Ziggler was left alone against 3 opponents. But don't worry, everything worked out Paul White in the end. Who wrote this? Number 5, Ultimate Warrior immediately eliminates Andre the Giant. Imagine you're a member of the Heenan family at Survivor Series 89. It's not a good place to be. You're facing a team that features the Ultimate Warrior, and it's the 80s, so you are almost certainly losing. To make matters worse, your teammate Tully Blanchard has recently been fired from the company, so he's been replaced in the match by Bobby Heenan. And I'm not one to doubt the greatest manager of all time, but he's hardly going to batter the Ultimate Warrior, is he? Your team has one saving grace, and it's a big one. Andre the Giant. Maybe, just maybe, if Andre can eliminate a couple of your opponents early on, you might actually stand a chance here. You wait in the ring, and the Rockers make their entrance alongside Jim Neidhart. They immediately attack you, which is a bit of a dick move, to be honest. They're supposed to be the good guys, aren't they? The tide turns when Andre gets involved with his big massive bear paws, but then the Ultimate Warrior's music hits. He charges in, clotheslines Andre out of the ring, and your only hope is counted out after just 26 seconds. Good luck for the rest of the match! Number 4, Randy Orton shocks Triple H. The beauty of the traditional Survivor Series format is that it allows for big upsets. And even though the match has sometimes been used as a vehicle to reinforce the dominance of Hogan, Warrior, Reigns, and so on, often it has allowed for big upsets. Even though he was never the most natural babyface, Randy Orton's initial push certainly had its positive moments. His first title win was a big moment, as was the split from Evolution, but dropping the belt to Triple H a month later derailed things somewhat. However, Orton did get a measure of revenge at Survivor Series, and this was before the Viper had become synonymous with the event. Facing 2-on-1 odds against Edge in the game, Orton forced a miscommunication and eliminated the Canadian. A low blow from Triple H seemed to signal the inevitable, and remember, this was mid-2000s Triple H, the toughest, cleverest, and best wrestler in all of the land. So, when Orton reversed the pedigree into an RKO, it was a genuinely shocking and joyous moment. Shame about the rest of the feud, but he's had an okay career since, hasn't he? Number 3, Kofi Kingston shocks Randy Orton. 5 years on from that big win over Triple H, and Orton found himself on the other side of the equation. The similarities were remarkable, with Kofi Kingston facing 2-on-1 odds late in the match, just as Orton had in 2004. Again, the young babyface prevailed, but we've given this one the edge on our list due to its excellent sense of timing. Kofi reversed a Punk roll-up with one of his own for 3, before immediately meeting an on-rushing Orton with a perfectly timed Trouble in Paradise. The rest is history. Of course, it wouldn't work if every traditional Survivor Series match ended so suddenly, but the situation here was so perfectly set up for Kofi to create an iconic moment in the history of the pay-per-view, seemingly out of thin air. Weirdly, the similarities between the two matches doesn't stop there. Just like Orton, Kofi's push was ultimately unsuccessful, but this time, it was the fault of the Viper himself. Stupid! Number 2, everybody gets DQ'd. Well, almost everybody gets DQ'd. While it's true that the British Bulldog and the Warlord had already been eliminated earlier in the match, this moment still took place with 6 wrestlers active in the contest. Seconds later, the match was over? This bizarre finish came as a result of a classic match-breaking down scenario, with wrestlers from both sides forgetting standard tag convention and brawling in the ring. It's something we've seen about a million times before, but at the 1991 Survivor Series, the referee was not messing about. Ric Flair was launched out of the ring by Roddy Piper before the strange decision was made to disqualify everybody still brawling inside the ring. This meant that the Nature Boy was the only man to escape punishment thanks to nothing but sheer dumb luck. It's a weird finish, isn't it? At the time, it was probably designed to protect those remaining in the match with nobody losing clean, but on the other hand, nobody came out of it looking particularly strong either. At least that referee doesn't work for AEW, or we would never see a clean finish to a tag match ever again. Number 1, Sting helps Dolph Ziggler. Earlier in this video, we talked about Big Show betraying Team Cena and leaving Dolph Ziggler to face insurmountable odds. What happened next must go down as the most shocking Survivor Series elimination ever. Credit must be given to Ziggler for ramping up the drama here. Facing 3 opponents on his own, he took care of Kane with a zigzag before rolling up Luke Harper, making the match a one-on-one contest with Seth Rollins. At this point, and you're not going to believe this, the Authority decided to cheat. With Ziggler about to defeat Rollins, Triple H pulled the referee out of the ring, attacked the replacement referee, pedigreed Dolph, and called out Scott Armstrong to count the fall. That's when WCW icon Sting finally decided to make his WWE debut, taking care of Triple H and draping Ziggler over Rollins for the win. So an all-time legend making his first ever WWE appearance to help have the Authority fired in a moment that fully made sense with his justice-seeking career? Yeah, that's probably good enough for number 1 on our list. Don't worry, by the way, I know you're probably annoyed that the Authority were back before long, but this story continued to WrestleMania 31, where our hero prevailed. Our hero being Triple H, who beat Sting by cheating and shook his hand afterwards. That's sports entertainment, folks!